All we know is he did shoot someone. You don't know if he was...
It's like the time you stop your ma battering you with a wooden spoon. You know, when you're like 15.
The hand goes up.
Yeah, you grab it.
Revolution.
Exactly. Hang on. I'm bigger than you now. Yeah, exactly. Like, but that with your da. You know what I mean? If your da has after been giving your ma awful grief your entire life, and you realise... Like, because some people get... I've seen it before where some people get like big and strong enough to be able to go up against someone who has physically dominated them their entire life, but mentally they're not able. But you have to imagine, like, Marvin fucking gay.
But the gas thing about that is, like, and that's a good point, because I think even you've heard of stories and you've seen movies about people who, even if they are huge, towering over their parents, haven't got this psychological thing goes, I can't do it. So, but he did apparently kick absolute shreds out of that. Like, that was probably just the absolute done. And the dad comes back in and fucking shoots him.
Fuck.
I think another kind of strange story about Marvin Gaye was, do you remember the story, sorry, I say story, it's like a myth, legend myth about the album Here My Dear.
Yes.
Where he had married Berry Gordy, who we mentioned a few times, married his sister.
And his capoeira skills.
Sister or daughter, Anna Gordy. Sister, I think, yeah. And then when they were getting divorced, he had to pay a certain amount of alimony that he just simply didn't have the money. So the story is the judge said, you have to give her every penny from the album.
Really?
Your next album. That's the story. So he releases a garbage album called Here My Dear.
Yeah.
This is part of this. I'm not saying it's a garbage album. So, and the album was, it didn't make any money at all. That part of the story is true, but and everyone goes, "Isn't that so clever on Marvin Gaye to pay alimony?" Like, I don't think it's clever.
Is it though?
It's not.
Just
really
taint your fucking legacy as well.
Yeah. Now that's not true.
Okay,
I've had a little bit of a fucking look into that, because I always used to tell that story to people. Oh, that's crazy. So I released an album called Here My Dear, which definitely is dedicated to her, and it's all like, a huge amount of the theme of the album is about that relationship. But that's not really true, in the sense that he didn't. The judge said, you owe her this amount of money. He said, I can't pay that right now, but I have a new album coming out. I'll pay the rest from the proceeds of that. So the album isn't garbage. It's up there with one of his highly rated albums after the fact. And he had to pay anyway. So a lot of people think that's a fucking genius idea, Here My Dear, and he released a garbage album because he has to give her whatever makes off that. Doesn't make any. Now, that album is critically acclaimed, but commercially did absolutely nothing. But he still had to pay that money. So that's a kind of little myth dispelled about that album there. And that is that's the death of Marvin Gaye, shot by his dad, who said, I'll bring you into this world and I can take you out. And he did. He stayed true to his word. He is I'd say doesn't seem like a nice character, that
no, he absolutely doesn't.
No, bit of a Michael Jackson, Joe Jackson.
No,
I think it is Joe.
Is it?
Yeah, not the Joe Jackson that we know and love, though.
Oh,
different for girls.
Exactly.
Who's the next one? Who's your last one? Is it
my last one? Yeah, their last one. It's a guy called DJ Scott LaRock, who was the DJ in Boogie Down Productions. Now,
I know the name, but I don't know anything about
Boogie Down Productions is where KRS-One came from.
Oh, yeah.
So KRS-One was one of the rappers in Boogie Down Productions.
Remind me again what KRS-One stands for, because it's class.
Whoop. I can't remember.
It's knowledge.
I actually read this and it's left me.
Brilliant. It's the KRS-One stands for something fucking brilliant.
Knowledge, respect, strength, or some shit, is it? Who knows? You made me look like an idiot, thank you.
We need a Jamie.
We do need a Jamie.
We need a Joe Rogan Jamie.
Taking applications.
Jamie, what is oh, that's not a bad idea.
That's not a bad idea. We should need, would you like to be our Jamie? And just man the fucking laptop?
So fast, you know the gas thing is, I would be an incredible Jamie. I've got Google skills. I'm actually quite good at getting Google stuff up real quick, the real meat of it. I know what to type in to get.
Well, tell you what, instead of a Jamie, is there any budding cloning artists out there? We just get a helmet clone.
There's nobody like me.
We make another you then.
Did you watch that new cloning thing with Paul Rudd?
No.
Okay. What's your...
All right.
LaRock.
Scott LaRock. Now, I chose to end it on this one because this is something that maybe something good came out of his death.
That boy was mated.
Yeah, he got Ja Rule.
I can't believe I forgot to say that during the whole podcast. I was like, every time I was doing research on this, I kept thinking, that boy was mated.
All I thought about was Ja Rule doing Maida. That's all I thought about. Maida.
Go on.
So.
Proceed, Gar.
Right.
Drink is kicking in now.
Yeah,
Thankfully, after we talked about all the serious
yeah,
stuff.
my ears are getting warm.
Someone's talking about you.
So Scott LaRock is born Scott Monroe Sterling in 1962. And in 1987, Scott and a guy called Denise get in trouble for talking to a girl. Right? Now, Denise is the other, is also a member of Boogie Down Productions with KRS-One. The two of them get in trouble for talking to a girl. There's a group of lads nearby while they're talking to this girl, and they take exception because one of the lads, it's his ex-girlfriend. They're not into it. So there's a big fucking scuffle. And the lads get the shit kicked out of them by this group of lads, including the ex-boyfriend
For just saying,
of the girl.
hey girl.
Yeah. So that evening, Scott and a couple of his pals jump in a Jeep, and they drive off to the projects place called Highbridge Homes Projects, which is where one of these guys lives. Now, the general consensus amongst the group is that Scott wanted to kind of squash it. He didn't want to get out of hand. He wanted to talk to the boys and try and diffuse the entire situation. To figure out, listen, I talked to the girl, I didn't know you had anything to do with her, whatever. But at the same time, Scott also rolled up with a car full of lads, right, just in case.
Yeah.
They had their conversation. I don't know whether there was a fight or a scuffle while they had the conversation. I'm not entirely sure. It's hard to get details on it. All that's known is, as the lads got back into the car to leave, a couple of shots are fired at the Jeep, and Scott takes one in the head.
Shit.
Now, apparently...
I mean, I knew he was going to die based on him being on this podcast, but it's still sad the moment you feel it.
Yeah. Now, apparently, he is still alive when they make it to the hospital, and he's talking. He's like sitting up in the gurney, talking to the lads, and they're like, how are you? He goes, I'm a bit tired, like, but I think I might be all right.
Shit.
So they bring him into the operating room, and off he goes. I think within an hour of being shot, he's in the operating theatre, but he dies. He dies on the trolley, essentially, in the operating theatre, getting ready to be prepped. Why I say something good might have came out of his fucking needless, wantless, fucking horrific death is that they were in the middle of recording their second album. Which is actually the only Boogie Down Productions album I own. And it changed the tone of the album.
Right, yeah.
The first album was the same normal bragging about fucking guns and shooting people and that type of shit. Like, even the song I picked is called The Bridge Is Over, which is about the fight between like the Bronx and Brooklyn and Queens and who invented hip hop and
the Queensbridge.
Yeah, exactly.
The bridge, yeah,
exactly.
That's a big thing.
Yeah. So this song is called, the first song is called The Bridge, and this is a follow up called The Bridge Is Over, I think, and which is really good. What's interesting when you listen to this song, you'll hear the prototype of so much hip hop that comes afterwards, but lyrically and thematically, it changed so much with the death.
Thematically,
the theme of it.
I know what it means. Yeah, okay, I just didn't expect you to come out with that.
Woo! Big words. That's what happens when you have to be drinking a lot of fucking 10.5%.
I like that word.
Polish, Belgian fucking gargle. The album changes so much while it's being recorded that it essentially becomes the first kind of socio-political hip-hop album. It leaves behind all of the violent themes and becomes about kind of looking after each other and needless deaths and why the fuck, like, why are we doing this to each other?
It's mad introspective. Yes. And just, you start asking yourself, is this bullshit?
Exactly. Why are we doing this?
Yeah, and who caused it?
Exactly.
The government.
Exactly.
The government were having a field day whenever all the rappers started killing themselves.
Pretty much.
Or
so,
each other and themselves, whatever.
This album is considered to be the very, very first fucking, like, properly political hip-hop album. And it's the thing that made KRS-One into...
Knowledge reigns supreme over nearly everyone. I just fucking remembered it. I knew it was like knowledge rules.
I knew that as well. It's gone.
Knowledge rules.
Gone.
Oh, you got it. I fucking got
So yeah, he was killed in the mid-second album. And it changed everything. I think they went back and they scrapped a lot of stuff and they just started again with what they had.
Yeah,
and,
it would absolutely change. You can't go back using half of those lyrics after that happens.
Yeah, exactly. Even the album cover is like a reproduction of, I think, Malcolm X with the cowboy looking out the window and stuff like that.
That's when the government starts going, oh, shit.
Yes. Hang on. Did we just invent Public Enemy? I think we just invented Public Enemy.
Fuck.
Yeah, that type of show. But yeah, like,
eventually these talented people are going to use it talented against us.
Exactly.
Oh, no.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's drop more helicopter crack over the area.
Exactly. That's a real thing.
It is a real thing.
Which is horrific. So he's shot in the head while leaving, trying to defuse the situation. Now, there's a little bit of dissent in the camp as to whether he went there to be the hard shot or whether he did go there to diffuse the situation. It's hard to tell. Most people who were there...
You can do both.
You could.
You can go there with the best intentions and then someone says fucking something. It's like, oh, hang on a minute.
Yeah, I think that might have been the case. The fact of the matter is that he did go there to figure something out, but he did kind of roll heavy. He brought a fucking carload of lads with him, just in case.
Yeah.
But Scott LaRock, shot in the head, dies an hour later on an operating theatre bed, and unwittingly creates probably one of the most important hip-hop albums of the day that inspired almost everyone after it. Inspired KRS-One to go down that route where even to this day he's known as like fucking the king of boom bap, they call him, which is a style of hip-hop, which was the creation of a way of doing beats where it's real obvious. You're not talking about loads of layers. It's not like overly produced. It's real slam bam in your face.
It could only have come from the New Yorks.
Exactly.
Really could have.
Exactly. You can absolutely hear differences between East and West Coast hip hop of the era.
Yeah, we'll do that at some stage.
We will do it. We talked about doing it for ages. But yeah, that was Scott LaRock who unwittingly invented the future of hip hop.
Yeah,
it just took us fucking life to do it, which is bullshit.
Yeah, it is bullshit.
But that was killed dead. I believe we called it.
Volume 1, because we could do that again.
You keep going. There's definitely some buttes in there, like some buttes that I fucking didn't do. Like there's some really.
There's some very obvious ones we skipped for.
What's the point?
Like picking the mad super.
There's no point in doing the mad obvious ones. The chances are, if you're listening to a music podcast, you're into music. You know what I mean? Or you at least want to learn something new about music. Like one of the things I talked to somebody this week about this podcast, and I tried to explain to them that like I know like 20 people who are much better at music than me. Like just
musically talented.
No, like knowledge.
No, oh god, I got 940.
Yeah, just like they are absolute black holes of musical knowledge.
Yeah, you could rattle off. And
like,
are they hilarious though? Because we're hilarious, guys.
But what I was trying to explain to you was that
do they use alcohol as a crutch though? That's a huge part of this.
Are they drunk 4 nights a week? Is there
do they have podcasting equipment? That's the main thing.
That's the main thing, yeah. But I was trying to explain to somebody the other day that like this is our little outlet, that basically what you're hearing is me and Helmet, what we'd be doing anyway.
Yeah, literally, we've done this for years.
Exactly. This is where the idea came from.
The difference is, slight difference is, we're recording it, and B, we're reading into what we knew and finding out things that weren't true.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Because dispelling a few little myths and learning, a bit more about that as well. Because we could come in blind and talk about it, and we'd get loads of stuff wrong. Yeah. The way everyone gets stuff wrong.
And chances are we still will get stuff wrong, even with all the research. Of course. Like I'm running out of notebooks now. I need to buy some new notebooks because it
is fun to just like. I don't think when we come up with a topic for this, I don't think we go, Jesus, I wouldn't know where to start with that. That's not what we would ever do. We
the fire is already lit.
We basically throw the songs in the playlist and then we go, right, I know a certain amount about this.
Let's go
dig to dig a little bit more so we can get, and then we find out little more bits of stories. And it's not like we're just going, logging on to the internet and going, I don't know.
No.
What's this? But we do jar our memory a little bit with research.
Yeah, 100%. Like,
and I'm actually glad about it as well.
Yeah. Like, me and Helmut have talked about this 100 times. We really enjoy doing this, and we're glad that you fuckers are with us as well.
Yeah.
We're doing well.
Thank you.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you. As always,
tell your friends.
Please tell your friends. There's one thing talking about Patreon, which I'll do now. But even before I talk about Patreon, you can help us so much by just liking something and sharing it. That's people who share a link to this podcast do more for us than the Patreons.
Don't say that.
No, that's a fact.
Uh-oh.
That's a fact. The Patreon